Hello, crypto world. Welcome to the Chart Historian. My name is Justin, and on this channel, I delve deep into crypto charts, exploring chart structures, fractals, and patterns. Well, folks, the HBAR bull run has begun. In this video, I'm going to explain why I believe that to be the case. Okay, so the best place, at least I think so, to start my case is at the beginning. So HBAR starts off with a sharp decline. It then moves into a sideways range-bound time. Now, I take this sideways range-bound time and split it up into 4 different fractals. The first fractal is sort of like a bridge that takes price from the steep decline to the boring lowlands of the sideways range-bound time. This fractal has 3 basic waves to it. One thing to understand about the HBAR chart is it's a sloppy chart, but you can see the basic kind of idea right there, the 3 basic waves down to a point. It then goes into fractal 2. Let's zoom in here so we can get a better look. So here we are zoomed in, and in fractal 2, price moves back up, and it does sort of a bounce 2 waves, if you will, in fractal 2. In fractal 3, price moves back up again, and it declines, and then it kind of goes flat before moving up again in fractal 4 right here. Now, fractal 4 has 2 basic waves that brings price to the first structure in the bull run. Now, this first structure is not shock and awe. It's not like, oh my gosh, look at HBAR. Nope, it's not like that. It's just a simple opening act where price moves up and then winds down to a point before the real shock and awe begins. So these 2 next fractals, fractal 2 and fractal 3 of the bull run structure, this is where the peaks are made that everyone wants to be a part of. Now, either one of these can be higher than the other. So in this first structure here, we have fractal 2, which is the highest. Then comes fractal 3. So fractal 2 moves up to a peak, it winds its way down to a point, and then it does it all over again. It moves back up to another peak, and then through a series of bounces, it goes back into the sideways range-bound time. Now, this bull run structure has played out multiple times on the HBAR chart. Some have been very large compared to others. So this one was very small, but all the same parts are there. So let's zoom in. So here we are zoomed in. So you have that first opening act where price moves up, it then winds its way down, and then it moves up again. This time it was not very impressive. It winds its way down to a point before doing it all over again, winding its way back up. And in this one, fractal 3 was the highest. And then through a series of bounces, it makes its way back down into the sideways range-bound time. Now, it happened again here. This time, it was quite a bit more impressive. So price moves up in the 2 waves in fractal 4 of the sideways range-bound time. And then in the first bull run structure, it moves up and then it pulls back before really going crazy in fractal 2. And in this point, it was fractal 3 that went higher than fractal 2. So it can be either one of these structures. So then after this comes the declining part of the bull run structure that eventually leads its way back into the sideways range-bound time. So this is the sideways range-bound time that we are in. Now, where did I get this fractal from? This fractal is from over here, the very first sideways range-bound time. This is the first structure. So I basically have taken this sideways range-bound time except for the third fractal, because the third fractal on the most recent iteration is a better match on today's chart. So aside from that third fractal, fractal 1, 2, 4 have been copied over. Let's see how those compare. Okay, so here we are on today's chart, and here is that first fractal. So we could see the 3 bounces. Here's the first bounce, the second bounce, and the third bounce. In fractal 2, it moves back up again, and it has the 2 waves, if you will, right here. In fractal 3, price moves up, it then declines, then it kind of goes flat and sideways. In fractal 4, it has the two waves. This first wave is not very easy to see, but it's there, and then the second wave, and then it winds its way down. So here we are in the first structure. Now, let's take the first structure of the first bull run and compare it to what this is doing today. So that is this structure right here. Okay, so here I am on an hour candle. So this is that first structure. So this fractal has basically three parts to it. The first move up right here, the aggressive move up, and then the part that winds its way down. So we can see on today's chart that we had the first part right here, and then the aggressive move up. That's where we're at right now. Now, will it go higher? I don't know. Will this be the peak? I don't know. We'll have to see how it plays out. But eventually, at some point, it's going to come to a peak and then begin to wind its way down to a point. So this is the first structure. Let's compare the second time this structure plays out, which is right here. So as we can see, it does the same thing. It moves up to a peak and then pulls back to a point. Let's compare it to today's chart. So here is that second time it played out, and it's the same basic idea. We have the first part where it moves up, we have the aggressive move up, and then we have the part where it declines down to a point. So as you can see, once again, it is a decent match. Let's compare the third time this structure plays out right here, which is from the most recent bull run. Okay, so here we go. So it has completed the first part of the structure. It is now working on the aggressive move up. And notice how this one is slightly different. It moves up aggressively, but then it continues to kind of wind its way up to a point, and then it drops. Well, this is something that we should be prepared for, especially being the most recent iteration of this structure. This is a possibility. Now, why does something like this even happen? How does it continue to move up like this? The reason why these type of things happen is when a fractal repeats, the basic idea repeats. In this case, it has that first part of the move up and then the aggressive move up and then the winding its way down. However, the timing, height, and depth can be unique. So while this one has this more unusual part to it before the drop, it's something that when you compare back to the very first one, let me show you, it does have that two-part to the peak. So here's the first part. Here is the second one. In this case, it moved up here. So there is some deviation, but it is still the basic idea playing out. And even with the declines, so essentially you have two parts to the decline. It moves down, moves back up, and then that part again. We see the same thing on this iteration as well. So just be prepared for it could be any one of these that it chooses to follow, or it could be a mix of all of them. Whatever it is, it's going to be original, but the basic idea of a beginning part of a move up, an aggressive part, and then a pullback, that will take place. So once this structure completes, however long this will take, it will then move up into the aggressive part of fractal 2. Well, folks, there you have it. That is my reasoning why we are in the first part of the bull run structure. HBAR is a repetitive chart. It repeats over and over again. We need to be prepared for that pullback. I don't know how deep that pullback will go or how long it will take to play out, but you know that after that pullback comes the real exciting part of the HBAR bull run. The cool thing about the HBAR bull run is that it is basically two separate bull runs. You have fractal 2 where it moves up and then it moves back up again in fractal 3. So say you're in another crypto and you miss the first bull run, you can always catch the second one in fractal 3 or vice versa. It gives you some options. Of course, how it all plays out with the timing, that's beyond my skill set. I don't know how to predict timing. If you found this video interesting, it'd be much appreciated if you hit that thumbs up button. I'm not a financial advisor, so this should not be considered financial advice. But if you did enjoy this technical analysis and you'd like to see more of it and you're not a subscriber yet, I recommend hitting that subscribe button. I'll continue to follow the HBAR chart as it continues to develop. We're getting to the exciting point, folks. HBAR has some aggressive moves coming down the pike. Of course, we have the pullbacks, but good things come to those who wait. I'm so glad you caught this video. I hope you catch my next one. Have a great day, and bye for now.